All right. So we are recording now. All right. So what we're going to be going over today is specifically the mortgage portion of the script practice. So of course, last week went over the location, the price, the motivation, the agent, how to get that information properly. The mortgage is going to be the hardest thing to get from your client. I mean, they're always pretty reluctant to talk about finances, get pre-approved, things like that. And really, it's the most important thing in real estate is making sure that if we're going to show someone a property, if we're going to, actually invest that time into them, we want to make sure that they're going to be able to actually purchase this house, or we just want to have that confidence. So there's multiple ways to go about and get a pre-approval prior to showing them the house or get that information. And I'm pretty much, and the strategies I'm going to use here, and I know Jeff's going to have a few as well, so we're going to go back and forth. The strategies that I'm going to use, and I'm going to tell you guys, it's pretty much 100%. Like I do not ever get anyone that says no to talking to my preferred lender, ever. It doesn't happen. And so it's all about the positioning of the information you're giving them. If you give them the proper information, and you position it the right way, they will talk with your preferred lender every time. I'm not going to say they're going to use them every time, because sometimes out they're going to just get beat out. That just happens. But they will definitely talk to them. So the primary reason, of course, we get this is because we don't want to go and show people any properties, right? Get there, and then they're not going to get approved for the next year or something like that. I mean, of course, that's kind of easy, and we want to have confidence that they could make an offer, and they will make an offer if we find them that right home immediately, right? So there's two things here that I'm going to tell you that I ask, it's kind of like it's part of the script, but I always say the exact same thing every time, no matter what. And so what I lead into it with is, of course, going from the agent, they're going to say, and let's just be an easy one, no, they're not working with an agent. You assume that business, right? Oh, perfect. I look forward to earning your business on that. Then you go right into the mortgage part of it. And so you tie this back into the price. So let's just say the price, they were talking about the mortgage calculator, right? They said, hey, we did the mortgage calculator, and so that's the main reason why we think we can afford $400,000. So you tie it back in. Not only does that tell them that you were listening, but it also is going to give you a good segue into it. So what you would say is like, hey, I know you told me earlier you think 400,000 is a good price. You use that online calculator, which is fantastic. Hang on, I'm getting some feedback. So, May, I'm going to mute you, and then you can unmute yourself whenever we're at the end here. But so they're approved for 400,000. You use the mortgage calculator, fantastic tool to use. Now, I'll tell you this, because sometimes those online calculators, they're a little off whenever it comes to taxes, your different tax rates on the properties, HOA fees, things like that. So what we always want to do in the first step in the home buying process is getting a pre-approval. Now, it's going to give us a few things. It's going to give us your pre-approval letter, which sellers require now in order to get us into the property. The second thing it's going to do is give us your exact purchasing power. Now, the beautiful thing about that purchasing power, I know we're looking at that $400,000, but you'd be quite surprised whenever we actually get and look into the tax rate of different areas we're looking at. We actually might be able to go up $25,000, $30,000 in that price point and keep your mortgage the same. And you'd be surprised how much more house we can get in that $25,000 to $30,000. Does that make sense? They're going to say, yeah, that makes sense. They will. That's what they're going to say.
Or no, it doesn't make sense.
If they say, no, it doesn't make sense, what you say, and seriously, it's all about asking questions. Say, okay, well, which part of that didn't make sense?
Right.
You're not being rude about it. You're just saying, hey, which part of that doesn't make sense? And then they'll tell you whichever, and then you re-explain it to them. That doesn't happen often at all. Typically, it's going to be, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get you in touch with my preferred lender here. I've actually been working with them for 5 years now. I actually purchased my house through him as well. I mean, I have a ton of trust in him. He's going to get you the best rate on the market. I know that 100%. His costs are super low. So is it not, and I apologize, I almost messed up. Never say, is it okay? Always assume. I'm going to go ahead and get him to reach out to you right after we get off the phone right now. Is that okay? I said it again, but you assume that you're going to get it, right?
Oh, and if they say no, I mean, I'm talking with this guy from Chase or wherever. Say, man, I've been doing this a long time. I've kind of weeded out all the bad lenders. I only use this lender, and it's always good to have multiple lenders. I wouldn't say any more than two bidding for your business. So when you have two people wanting to try and earn your business, and they both know that you're talking to somebody else, they're going to do a little stuff, and it may save you some money here and there, but it'll ensure that you get the best deal out there. And I'm pretty confident it's going to be, Michael Fuda. But I want to make sure you're at least getting multiple lenders to bid for your business, really no more than two.
And the good thing here too, piggybacking off of that, what you can do, and this is another assuming the business, let's just say that they're approved with Bank of America. As realtors, we know we don't want them to use a big bank. Pretty much everybody knows that, right? They're usually slow, communication's not good, all of that stuff for sure. You never bash another bank though. Don't do that. That's not the right way to do it. So, hey, Bank of America is a fantastic bank. They do a ton of loans for sure. Let me ask you though, if I could save you $100, maybe $150 on your mortgage, would you want to hear about it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think anyone's going to say no? And they don't. They're like, well, yeah, I would want to. Well, what I'm going to do.
That's a good one. I ain't heard that one in a while.
And then what you do is you say, well, perfect, as your agent, and let's say this is the first conversation, and it is, right? Say, as your agent, my main goal is to get you the best deal possible out there. So I'm going to go ahead and get you in touch with my preferred lender. He typically gets you $75 to $100 off your mortgage that you're already, looking at. And then that's all you have to say. What they're going to do is they're going to immediately want to talk to that person. And here's the thing. Are they always going to save them $75, $100, $150 on the mortgage? No, they're not going to always save that. But if you have a good lender partner, they probably will save them more than the other person. And that's the whole thing. You just want to get them okay with talking with them, and that's the perfect segue into it. And then once you get them okay with talking about it, maybe this person wants to go see a property it's $215 right now. Maybe they want to go see it at $4. And so you give them with your preferred lender. They're like, hey, I've spoken with him. Everything he's telling me sounds really good. I would go show them that person. If you have that relationship with your lender, you feel better about showing that person at 4 o'clock, even though you might not have a pre-approval letter in hand, as long as they've had that conversation. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, sure. I want to make sure that you guys have lender partners. If not, get with us. We have some lenders that invest into our business, and we invest into theirs as well by sending them the referrals. But you need to get your lender partner willing and able and really familiar with you as an agent, so they can edify you as soon as that buyer calls them. So what I'm saying is, just like we're edifying the lender, he's the best lender in town. I've used all kinds of lenders for the past 5 years. I've weeded them all out. I only use Michael Fuda. He did my own personal loan, blah, blah, blah. The second that, let's say Tim is the buyer and Tim calls Fuda, and Fuda's first thing is going to be like, oh man, well, before we get started, I want to congratulate you on using Michael Bass as your realtor. It's a phenomenal realtor. I'm pretty excited you get to work with him. He's one of the best realtors in town. That's what the lender needs to be saying. And if the lender isn't comfortable doing that, they have their own scripts, just let them know that's not going to work for you. It's not going to work at all the way you want your business ran. So if anybody's calling whatever lender you want, make sure you have the, expectations that that lender is going to edify you, because it's just a better first impression. When they call you, you've assumed the business on the agent portion. You've assumed the business on the mortgage portion. You're obviously going to assume the business when you go close the conversation. And then once you say things like, oh, as your realtor, I'm going to do this, look forward to working with you, can't wait to work with you. And then they call your lender, and the lender's first thing he says is, oh, before we get started, congratulations on working with Michael. He's one of the best agents in town. Anyway, and just kind of going there. And then you've pretty much closed that buyer, unless there's just something up, I think.
100%.
Right?
Like, they're not going to shop around for another agent at that point. Statistically, that just doesn't happen if you do this script properly.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason we're doing these script practices, and of course we're recording them as well, because what we're saying and the tone I'm using, everything that I say going through this is exactly what I say to buyer clients whenever I'm going through a script. Exact reasoning why we've had such great success on our team is simply because that's the only thing that we teach them is what we're teaching you guys right now.
Yeah.
And of course, you can make it your own. So don't think you have to copy us word for word, but the gist of it should be exactly the same, like, and just put your own flair on it. So, Jeff, I think what I want to do is just go from agent to mortgage.
Yep.
Agent's going to be like, you're just going to say, hey, I'm not working with an agent every time because we can go into.
Yeah.
One of the times it's going to be you haven't spoken to a lender, so what you need to get them with a lender. The second time it's going to be you have spoken to a lender, so I'm just going to get you okay with talking to my preferred lender as well. And then I think the third time will be the more difficult one, which will be you are fine and okay with your current lender. Okay, so
All right.
the first one here is just going to be you've never spoken to them. So, well, hey Jeff, I assume you reached out to me directly because you're not working with an agent currently. Is that correct?
No, we're not working with an agent.
Awesome, man. I definitely look forward to earning your business. Well, hey, I know that you had told me earlier, you were using those online calculators. Those are fantastic tools to work on that mortgage. So let me tell you a little bit difference between, of course, full on getting a pre-approved and then that online calculator. So that online calculator actually, of course, it's pretty accurate as far as the principal and interest. That's pretty easy to tack in there. The tax rate a lot of times is kind of off a little bit, and of course it doesn't put any HOA or insurance or anything like that in there. So of course the very first step in the home buying process is getting pre-approved. It's going to give us a few things. The first one is going to be the pre-approval letter, which we actually need in order to get into houses right now. That's the only way the sellers will actually approve the showings. But the second thing it's going to do is get us that pre-approval letter that we need. It's going to give us your purchasing power that we're going to want to know about. Now, I know we're looking at 400,000. The great thing about this the pre-approval that we do get is that a lot of times because of the tax rate, the HOAs, and even the insurance based off the location, we're probably going to be able to increase that price maybe 15, 25, sometimes even $30,000. And you'd be surprised how much more that $30,000 will get you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense to me for sure.
Perfect. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my preferred lender, Michael Footer, to reach right out to you whenever we get off the phone here. He's going to be able to have that conversation with you, get you started on that. I have tons of trust with Michael. I actually have my personal home with him that I bought last year. He always constantly beats everyone's rate that he goes against, and his costs are super low. So he's going to reach out. He's great. He's going to take care of you. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And of course, that's it. Now, that's in a perfect world, perfect scenario that you're going through there. Of course, that will happen sometimes like that. It really does, because you actually tell them, hey, does that make sense at the end? They're going to say yes the majority of the time, and then you just assume, okay, well, I'm just going to get my preferred lender to give you a call. So this next one, of course, he's already spoken, and we'll just leave Bank of America in there. So I'm going to say on price, whenever I asked him how he came up with that price, he told me that Bank of America has him pre-approved. So this is how that would happen. So, hey, Jeff, I assume you reached out to me directly because you're not working with an agent currently. Is that correct?
No, not working with an agent yet.
Awesome, man. Well, I definitely look forward to earning your business. Well, hey, I know that you said you already got pre-approved through Bank of America. Congratulations on that, man. That's actually the very first step. They're a fantastic bank too. They do a ton of business. Let me ask you this though: if I could save maybe $100, $125 on your mortgage, would you want to hear about that?
Yeah, I'd be interested in that for sure. But yeah, we've been working with Bank of America about 30 days now.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, for sure. The great thing as your agent, I just want to make sure and I get you the best deal possible on this house. And realistically, I know that whenever you speak with Michael Fuda, my preferred lender, he's going to be able to beat Bank of America's rate and save you that money. That's where that's coming from. I actually used it personally for my own house. And then, of course, I've just seen it countless times again. That's why I always recommend them. And you always want at least two banks fighting for your business anyway to make sure that you get the best rate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get him to give you a call right whenever we get off the phone here. That way you guys can kind of connect. You can see that great rate, the price that he's going to give you. And that way we ensure that you're going to get the best rate, okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, great.
Okay, is there anything, Mikey, you say, does that make sense a lot? And for some people, I don't think that's an issue, but I remember when I went to pick out my wedding ring uh, for Amanda,
Yeah.
he kept saying stuff. He'd be like, well, this is a, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Does that make sense? And I go, yeah. And then he was like, and this is what you need on here. Does that make sense? Eventually, I was like, dude, stop asking me that. It makes sense. You're assuming that I'm not understanding you. I'm like, I got frustrated with the dude because I've said it a few times. I was like, yeah, I understand, man. I get it. I already know what I want, blah, blah, blah. And then he kept at it. I don't know if there's another word we can use or if anybody on here has a different idea of, as opposed to using, does that make sense? Or maybe like, you follow me here or something. I don't know if anybody's come across that. Um,
I like that, Jeff, so you can give different words because I don't know how many times I say it. Typically, I only try to say it one time. That's in the mortgage section. That's typically
yeah, because we need to explain the benefits of using our preferred lender, but at the same time, we need to ensure that we're getting some feedback from the client on that portion of the phone call as well.
I like to do something positive. Like, isn't that exciting, or wouldn't that be awesome?
Right.
That way you're still getting feedback.
Yeah, just because we want to explain the need to use our in-house lender, but we also want not to just sit there. And I'm not saying you did at all. I'm just saying I don't want to get someone into the consistency of kind of over educating that person and not giving them a chance to respond. They're sitting there getting talked at, and maybe they are following you, maybe they're not. So it's always good to pause and ask some type of a yes or no question or something like that, as opposed to, does that make sense? And Jace, he just chatted, and that's smart. How does that sound? Right? That's a good question. How does that sound to you? I'm just thinking out loud here. I'm not saying you did that. I'm just saying it could just be a pet peeve of mine. This guy kept asking me if it made sense, and it makes sense.
I'll tell you this. During the mortgage portion, if you pause a lot, this is just my experience.
Sure.
If you pause in there and before you get finished explaining, it gives them an immediate reason to just not want to go through with the mortgage.
Okay.
How I'm doing it, because I get that it sounds like I'm just talking a lot at you, and I say that, does that make sense at the end? It works. Like I've never had anyone be mad or not do it.
Yeah.
Like that. So that's the only reason I'm doing that, but I do get what you're saying.
Yeah. So let's try. Does that make sense? And then also, does that sound good to you? You're following me. I'm sure you're following me. Stuff like that.
Okay.
But let's go real quick on that third example of the call. Basically, they're not working with an agent. And then what was that third scenario we wanted to talk about?
I think whenever I say, it's kind of going to be the similar as number two, right? So it's like, hey, would you, if I could save you $100 or $125 on your mortgage, would you want to hear about it? I would like say the same thing. I've been working with this mortgage company for however long, I trust them, whatever. And then I'll kind of tell you exactly how, like I would probably position that. Because again, at the end of the day, we want them to get with our preferred lender no matter what. I will tell you guys this, because this is true as well. Sometimes you will not do that on that phone call. That first phone call, sometimes that won't happen. It might be the first time you meet them, or maybe even the second time you meet them, because maybe, they're pushing back a little too much. You don't want to,
if they've done the research and they're prepared to buy, and they have spoken to Chase or another company, and they do have a pre-approval letter, they're just giving you some kind of a hard time with you calling FUTA. I mean, just skip it and go right to the home criteria.
Yep.
And then hit them back. Yeah, for sure.
Because you will build rapport really, really good with them whenever you meet them in person, especially if you show, 3 to 5 homes the first time. And then you just continue to just a little bit at a time, bring it up. That's why whenever I say I'm 100% on people eventually calling the preferred lender, because they eventually will trust you. Like they might not trust you at first, but they will eventually trust you enough to where they're like, well, yeah, it makes sense. If we could save that money, well, we might as well reach out to them. And that's how that happens. So
that's good. Yeah, man. As you put, doesn't that sound great? Isn't this exciting? Or wouldn't that be helpful? Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I just had a thought there. I didn't say you were doing it.
No, no,
I just
no.
remember it brought back flashbacks of this guy pissing me off at the
For
jewelry store.
sure. And remember this too, guys. Scripts are always awkward. Whenever we like next week, or yeah, probably next week, whenever we start calling on people and we're going to do these together,
Yeah.
it's super awkward. It never sounds that great usually. Like it's not like a regular conversation. So this is all about growing, getting uncomfortable. So remember that as well. We're all learning, myself included, Jeff. We all learn new things. So, all right, let's go ahead, Jeff. Let's do.
Sure.
Hey, I assume you reached out to me directly because you're not working with an agent currently. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, we're not working on an agent yet.
Oh, perfect. I definitely look forward to earning your business. Well, hey, I know that you had said that you were pre-approved through Bank of America. That's fantastic. They're a great mortgage company. Let me ask you though, if I could save you maybe $125 a month on your mortgage, would you want to hear about that?
I mean, yeah, I would, but I mean, we used Bank of America on our last purchase. And we had pretty good success with it.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason they're a super large bank, 100%. So as your agent, Jeff, the main thing I want to do is just ensure that you get the best deal out there. And I know, just as a professional real estate, we need at least 2 banks and 2 mortgage companies bidding for your business to ensure that. And so the person that I'm going to refer over to, they've just been proven to really beat everyone's rate. I've seen them beat, Bank of America, Chase, all of that. And I just want to make sure you get the best rate. Again, that's the bottom line, because really there's no, in business, just take the relationship out of it. We want to make sure you get the best rate at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We shopped around quite a bit. The reason we ended up with Bank of America was because of the rates, but we did talk to a few other banks.
Yeah.
We feel pretty comfortable with Bank of America right now.
Perfect. And if you don't mind me asking, what rate did you end up getting?
We got a 3.275.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, no, fantastic, man. Well, hey, if you're comfortable with them, I'm comfortable with them. So let's just, and then I would have just moved forward.
Yeah, go straight into the home criteria and what you're going to do. Just name drop them again, right, Mikey?
So yeah, what you do, the reason I got the rate is because you immediately call your lender whenever you get off the phone and say, hey, I have this Bank of America person that shopped around and they said that they were the best rate. They got a 3.3275 or whatever. The lender's going to say, hey, what's their credit score? Let me say, I'm not exactly sure the credit score yet, but could you beat that? And they're going to, preferred lender is usually going to say, yeah, I could give them probably a 299 right now if they have, especially if they have perfect credit. But if not, I could make sure I beat them. And then so you have that as ammo whenever you do go to the properties and show them. You then just kind of start having that conversation about the bank again, about that 3275 or whatever they were getting. And then you kind of ask them, is y'all's credit score, like, is it pretty perfect, or like, where are you at? Are you in a good, excellent?
Right.
They'll give you that info, especially the more they start giving you, you're getting comfortable around them. They're comfortable with you. And then you just throw in, well, hey, I spoke with my lender. I think we can actually get you a 2.99. Again, I know that you shopped around, but you didn't shop with my guy. I just want to, again, make sure that you.
And let me hit you with this, because Kathy mentioned it. What if they put you back and say, well, I appreciate that, but I really don't want my credit ran again. I don't want my score dropping.
Yeah, for sure. So the great thing about how that credit score thing works, right, is once you initially run the credit the very first time, you have basically a 2-week window of shopping with other lenders, because the bureaus know that you're going to shop around, or they think that. Will your credit score be affected a few points? Yeah, it's going to be affected a few points. Will it go back up within 30 days? Yes, it will. So it'll go back.
Save you thousands of dollars over 30 years. If we actually do save you on your rate, yes, it will, right?
And I know this because, like, when I purchased my house back in December, the exact same thing happened. My credit got dinged a few points within 30 days. It was actually higher than it was before.
Yeah, and then some other stuff I use if they're pushing back on the mortgage. I want to use Bank of America. I want to use Bank of America. Just say, I just want to ensure that if we do use Bank of America, you have a personal relationship with that loan officer. I just hate calling a 1-800 number at 5:30 on a Friday when we're set to close Monday and haven't got a closing disclosure yet. It's just so much different when I text or call FUTA, or if you did as well, text and call directly to my loan officer, as opposed to trying to reach someone through a 1-800 number. So I just want to make sure you have a close relationship with the actual loan officer. And if they say yes to that, then great.
Yeah.
But still, eventually try to get them to FUTA. But that's some other stuff I use. I would just hate calling a 1-800 number Friday at 5:30 when I know they're not going to answer.
Also, Kathy, something you could do if your lender's comfortable with it is you can have them pull their own credit report with the score and send that to the lender just to run preliminary numbers and give them an estimate GFE. And that'll be based on, of course, if they, like, let's say they think that they have an 800 and it's really like a 600, then those numbers will be different. But if they pull that and then they can, if the numbers look like it will be beating their current lender, then they'll be more comfortable to let that lender run it. And just like Jeff said, right now it's kind of a seller's market. So if you find a house on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday evening and you want to make an offer and you want that pre-approval letter to match that number, try calling Chase Sunday afternoon. They're probably not going to answer.
Yeah, right. And then if it's Saturday and we have multiple offer situations, and I try to call a 1-800 number for the lender to reach out to the listing agent to better our chances at getting this contract, I just don't feel comfortable doing that. So if you have a relationship where on a Saturday afternoon, your lender can reach out to the listing agent that has 5 offers on it and ensure them that we're legitimate buyers, then great. But if you have any hesitations like that, I just want to kind of set you up for success, right? Something like that. All right, Mikey?
Yeah, that is true. And I will say this because it just reminded me, I had one transaction with Chase that was phenomenal. And the mortgage officer, day one, called me, gave me her cell phone number. And from that point on, it was like I had my preferred lender. Like I could text her, she would answer. On the weekends, she would answer. She would still do stuff. So there are those agents or those mortgage officers in those big banks. The majority of them just aren't like that. So that's why we want to get our preferred lender in there. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I know, it's about 2:30 right now. So y'all, let's open it up for some questions. And this again can be any transaction related. It could be script related. It could be seller related. What have you guys ran into that's been troubling, had been kind of an issue? Maybe you struggled with it.
Yeah, any objections this week that you haven't, don't have an answer for? Buyer, seller, transaction, anything. We try to like to do the Q&A last 15 minutes. Great. What are your thoughts? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If no questions, Mikey, that's okay. What I would like to do is just run through for some of the people that maybe missed last week. Just let's run through 1 through 5 here.
Okay.
You're the agent, I'm the buyer, but at this time I'm not gonna really give you any hiccups or objections, just so they can get the flow of the script.
Sure.
That's unless someone has any questions.
Yeah.
Let me check the chat real quick. Yeah, right. So Jay said, I love using the weekends and having to call a 1-800 number for the big banks. Yeah, so that's good. Just say that. I mean, and that's true. If we run across multiple offer situations, can I call up your lender and make sure he calls the listing agent and ensures them we're legitimate buyers? Or am I going to call from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday? I just don't. I want to set you guys up for success here. Something like that. So, okay.
One thing that I'll bring up really quick, Jeff, maybe might help some people out there. So showing properties, at first, especially when you're a newer agent, you always you'll maybe even go through the script, but then you'll immediately go show the property or whatever. I've actually stopped doing that. I never go when they want to go immediately, unless it's like the next day or 2 days after. Sounds kind of funny or maybe strange because you're like, oh, you're not going to get the business. No, whenever you do that, they respect your time more. And so whenever you actually, like they say, yeah, and again, I'm going to use today, it's 2:30. They want to go see it 5 o'clock in spring or whatever, something like that. You always tell them, okay, let me check my calendar. You go through the script. Sounds great. Okay. Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do today at 5, but what's your schedule looking like the rest of the week? And whenever you tell them that, they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, I work, this day, whatever. And then so you can be better prepared. And then you just give them the time. Okay, well, I have opening this, or I have opening on Saturday or whatever. That will ensure that they won't ever call you up on a Saturday at 3 and expect you to go to a property at 4:30 or 5 o'clock. It just does not happen. And so you have to treat this exactly like a business. Even if maybe you could have made it there at 5 o'clock, It just helps coach your client to not disrespect your time, even though
Yeah, and I don't mind that. I don't mind that either. It does run a risk of, let's just use the word millennial, because millennials, they like to have stuff pretty quickly. If they see a TV that they can get today, but it's $100 more than the TV that they can get next week, they're going to spend $100 to get it. So if you're maybe it may be specific to age groups there, Mikey. I'm just thinking, I don't know. You'd run the risk of someone my age saying, "All right, well, thanks, man," and then as soon as I hang up, I'm calling the listing agent, trying to get an appointment. But I see what you're saying.
I would say it's case by case, but the majority of the time you can do it without losing the client, and you don't do this from the very beginning. You do it like you do it along with the script, and then based off the script, if they spend 7-8 minutes with you on the phone and you're talking to them, and then you schedule, and that's the thing, you schedule another time with them. It's not one of those things where like, hey, I'm going to call you back. It's like, hey, I can show you tomorrow at 3, and you said that was available. If you get that, usually they won't do that because they'll know that you're showing them this property along with some other ones. But I get what you're saying for sure.
Yeah.
So let's just play that.
Yeah, if you're having a somewhat difficult conversation, but I mean, you get them to the finish line, you do have the opportunity of earning their business. I wouldn't push them, but if it goes phenomenal, and they're jiving with you, and they're gonna hang up and they're gonna call your lender. I mean, I would push. Then push them. But I see what you're saying though, because you want to coach them early on. So maybe in your first meeting as well, if you have. I mean, especially I try my best not to answer phone calls from random numbers or text after like 7 or 8, because the second you do that, they're gonna call you at 9 o'clock and say, hey, look at this property. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, we'll quick. Yeah, we got about what is that, 7 minutes or so. So real quick, we'll go 1 through 5 just to get the flow of a conversation. I'll be a super easy a buyer, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, perfect. Ring, ring.
Hello, it's Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, how's it going, man? It's Michael here, Cityside Properties.
Oh, good. Who's this?
Yeah, it's Michael in real estate. You had actually inquired on the property there at 123 Main Street. Just wanted to check and see what all questions you had.
Oh, yeah, that one. How much is that property?
That is a great question. Let me take a look here. And hey, while I pull that up, I noticed that it's located there in the Pearland area. Is that the specific area you're looking to purchase within?
Yeah, we want to be in Pearland for sure.
Got it. Cool. And is there a specific part of Pearland, or is it just kind of because of the schools or work related?
Yeah, we need to be off 288, and we're going to go to those schools down in Pearland. So I think that's the only area we're really looking at right now.
No worries at all. Well, hey, I have the property pulled up here. It looks like it's around, or it's listed, I'm sorry, at $400,000. Is that around the price you're looking to purchase within?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Perfect. And if you don't mind me asking, how'd you come up with that number?
We're actually messing around with some mortgage calculators online. I think 400 would be a stretch for us, but I think we could do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, those calculators sure are good. Well, hey, I know you said you need to be right off 288. What's causing the move? What's bringing you guys over there?
Yeah, so our kids are in kindergarten this next year, and my wife got a job there at that school. So we need to move before the school year.
Fantastic. No problem at all. We can definitely get you. I look forward to getting you there. How old are your kids again?
They're 4 and 6.
4 and 6, a handful, huh? Two girls, girl and boy?
Oh, yeah. House full of women over here.
Oh, man. You're super lucky then, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Again, I definitely look forward to getting you guys into that next home. Well, are y'all currently renting, or do you own your property?
We're renting right now.
Awesome. In Houston somewhere?
Yeah, we're downtown. We don't really like it down here.
Yeah, no, I could understand that. Well, when's your lease up?
It's up in December.
December? Okay, great. And I guess let me ask you this. If we do find you, or not even if, when I find you that perfect house, are you going to be ready and willing to make a move on it like right now, or would we have to wait until we get a little closer to that lease being up?
No, like I said, I think we need to be in there, before the school year starts for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, well, perfect. And then I assume you reached out to me directly because you're not working with an agent currently. Is that correct?
No, we saw a few houses, but we didn't. we're not working with anybody right now.
Well, I definitely look forward to earning your business and again getting you into that perfect house. How'd you get into those houses? Were you going to like some open houses and stuff?
Yeah, we've been to a bunch of open houses.
That's the best way to get familiar with areas. So
Yeah.
good job on that. Well, hey, I know you're using the mortgage calculator, which again, very good on you to work through that, figure it out. The one thing that's kind of messy about that is a lot of times it doesn't have the right tax rate, doesn't have HOA or insurance added into it. So the very first step in the home buying process is getting pre-approved. It's going to give us a few things. It's of course going to give us that pre-approval letter, which most sellers need in order to actually allow us to see the property. But the second thing it's going to give us is your exact purchasing power that we're going to need to stay within. And the beautiful thing about that is a lot of times, especially in Pearland, you go to Shadow Creek Ranch, you have a high tax rate. You go to Silver Lake, you have a low tax rate. Based on the tax rate, it's actually going to adjust that price point we can search within. So you'd be surprised. We might actually be able to get you, 15, 20 more $1,000 one side or the other. And so that purchasing power allows us to see exactly where we need to stay within. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that does make sense for sure.
Perfect, man. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get my preferred lender, Michael Fuda, to reach out to you whenever we get off the phone here. I've actually used Michael Fuda for my personal house. I trust him so much. We've been working together now 7 years. He actually beats everybody's rate that I've ever really matched him against. So he's going to beat the rate. He's going to have the best cost. His communication skills are great. So I'm going to get him to reach out to you.
Okay, that sounds good. Can we see this house, here today? We're really eager to take a look at it.
Absolutely. Let me look at my schedule really quick. What times do you have available today?
Really any time before dark, maybe 6, 7 o'clock tonight.
I got you. Okay, let me pull my schedule up really quick and verify that. While I do pull that up, what times just throughout the week and stuff works best for you guys?
Usually after work, after probably 5:30, 6 o'clock. So probably either 6 to 8-ish, and then the weekends are fine too.
Got it. Okay. Well, hey, I do pull that up. I could actually show you this evening. I will tell you on this on the listing, I do see where it is required to get that pre-approval. We have to submit that before showing. Do you mind? Can you do me a favor and talk with Michael Fuda, and so we can go ahead and get that? I can upload it there, and yeah, I can for sure show you.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, I would love to talk with him, and hopefully we'll be able to see the house.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I'll go ahead and get it scheduled, and then again, once he talks with you, he'll get that going, and I look forward to meeting you guys and getting you into the next home.
Oh, I appreciate it. We'll see you tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that was good, Mikey. If you caught me off guard, which was great. You set the appointment for 7 tonight, 6 tonight. So there's really no point, even though we were going to stop on number 5. Would you still continue to get their home criteria and try to show them multiple properties instead of that one, or would you just close for the appointment and go to it?
So let's go back and
Yeah.
I'll finish out. Okay, I'll finish that out.
Before that's my question. Do you close and just all right? See you at 6?
No. So what I would try to do is at that point, I would say, oh yeah, we need that pre-approval letter, and you say yes, and then okay, great, we can definitely make that happen. Then what I would do is say, well, hey, there's actually a few other houses in and around that area that we could check out really quick as well, so we can kind of really compare them, and then get their criteria, then send those properties over to them to verify and make sure they wanted to see them, and schedule multiple. I hate showing one property.
Yeah, no, that makes sense because you have a better. For everyone, you'd have a better opportunity of earning their business, building more rapport if you can, show them the multiple properties.
Yeah.
Okay. That was just a question I had. I don't know if you just go for the throat there and just close it, or if you say, hey, if there's that one line, we could always use it. If there was a, nicer property for a better price in that, in that same subdivision, wouldn't you want to see it?
Yeah.
And they'll probably say yes. And then, okay.
That's kind of how, I don't know. That's how I would have done it.
Sure. No.
Properties. Any questions though, guys? Any comments or anything like that before we let you guys off today?
I loved how you blame the sellers. I blame the sellers for everything. Oh, the sellers need an approval letter. The seller said they can't show tonight, but we can see this one and the other one tomorrow. The seller said
this. Yeah, that could be a thing. Obviously, if it's vacant, you're kind of screwed. But if it's occupied, let me check with the sellers really quick. And it looks like we need a pre-approval. So let me get you with Fuda, and then we'll get it all set up.
I blame it on the listing.
Yeah.
It's such an easy, and it is a little white lie, guys, because most people don't actually require that. But it's such a good way to get.
Liars are liars, so it's all right.
Well, especially now during COVID, it's like the sellers want to make sure only qualified people are in their house spreading germs. So
I had a
Yeah,
vacant
sure.
listing that required pre-approval letters, so it does happen. Like it still does happen even on a vacant house. I know that's weird, but they wanted it.
Okay. Well, it's good, man. Tomorrow, are we going to do buyers again, or are we going to switch it up and do some seller stuff, or you want to finish out this script with
We can
section?
pick out this 6 and 7 just to go. We can do 6 and 7 tomorrow, and then next week what we'll do is we'll do maybe on Tuesday we'll do a full buyer script with participation as well. We'll just call in some folks, and then
Yeah.
on Wednesday we would go into sellers.
Okay. And I do, I don't know how many people are on here, but I want to try, maybe in the next, after the first, 3 sessions or so, I want to try to utilize the Team Suite in EXP World. So if you're not, if you haven't got an invite to our Team Suite, the Cityside Properties Group Team Suite, maybe send me a text or send Amanda or me an email, and I'll get you access to the Team Suite. And then eventually I want everybody to go into the cloud every Tuesday and Wednesday and go into the, the Team Legacy Suite there, and we'll do the mastermind buyer stuff in there. I just want everybody to get familiar with the cloud and do that stuff. And don't worry, if you have a guest like Tim's on today, just make sure you check with that guest and say, hey, we're just letting you know we're doing the script practice in the cloud office, which is awesome. I think you're going to like to check it out. I'm going to send you a guest pass really quick. Just send me the email you want to register with, and I'll send it to Jeff, and he'll get you access to the cloud. And just make them, whether they're at, doesn't matter where they're at, even if they're unlicensed, make them get familiar with the cloud and go in there. That's a better way to, attract potential agents and stuff like that. But yeah, so maybe not, obviously, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not even next week, but definitely I would say the following week. Let's try to meet in the cloud office.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. We have one chat here. Sorry. Oh, that was Amanda. All right. Thanks, Mikey.
All right. See y'all later.
See y'all.
Thank you.